So it's almost the full moon, and the mind likes to get information. So I love this when I realized that when is the moon full? So the story of the moon and of us watching it goes back to the time when we realized that the moon reflects the light of the sun. That's why we see it so clearly. It's not because it doesn't have its own light, but it's because its own light is not strong enough to reach us. So it reflects the light of the sun, which is bright enough to shine this whole world. And many other worlds, all its planets are warmed by the sun. But then when we see the moon, why is it that we don't see it fully round all the time? That's really what we call the full moon. We just see round. We don't see spherical. So we know that it's a sphere. We only see one. And then scientists and astronomers tell us that we only see one side of the moon, and there's another side which is called the far side, which we actually never see. So let's leave that aside for a minute and understand. When do we see a full sphere, or let's say the full circle of the moon? And when do we not see it? When we don't see it, we call it the dark moon or the new moon, or we call it a moonless night, in simple words. So we see the full moon when it opposes the sun. In other words, when it rises as the sun is setting, and when it sets as the sun is rising. Because the moon isn't as bright as the sun. So if it walks along in the sun, the light of the sun casts the moon into shadow. There's even a saying in Hindi, chirag tale andhera. In other words, if you see a candle light, just around the candle, it is dark. That has two meanings. The obvious meaning seems to be, oh, when something is light, then it casts darkness around it. So if you're near the sun, you're going to be hidden. If you're near the candle, then no one will see you because everyone will only be focused on the candle. In the same way, you have gurus and you have people who are very famous, political leaders, different types of leaders in the world, and everyone is so focused on them that the people who are around them, even though they are in positions of power and of strength, are sort of hidden. We don't see them that clearly, as if they were in their own places. What do you make of this? What do you make of the fact that when you're near a source of greater light, then that same light can actually hide your light? But if you face it, if you're facing it, you may call it opposing, but it's actually facing, because the source of light is not threatened by you. The source of light is light from inside. It's already bright. It has a confidence in itself, if we can put human terms on the source of light. But when you are facing it in your own confidence, standing on your own 2 feet, then you can shine in your brightness. In this, there's a lesson for teachers, for anyone who's guiding someone else. Allow that person the space to face you, to question you, to even oppose you. When you know that that person is strong and can do it and understand what it is that you are doing, if you are also facing them back. So in someone's life, we are all the sun. And in other people's life, we are the moon. There are some people in whose presence we shine brighter, and there are other people in whose presence we dim our lights just a little bit. Neither of these shows opposition or something which is negative. It's just the way that things are. And I feel that we learn so much from nature because nature is within us. We are within nature. We are an aspect of nature. We are the drops in the whole ocean, which we can call Mother Nature. And as we become closer and closer to this kind of consciousness, that consciousness which I call the Gaia consciousness, to me, that starts emerging. Because to me, Gaia is not just the same as Mother Earth or Pachamama. Gaia is a consciousness. It is a consciousness that all the beings on in a planet and all planetary beings in a system and the entire solar system is one being. Each, the sun and each of the planets are also beings. That's why we study astrology. That's why we see the effect of planets on us and of planetary beings. And even those who don't believe in that, we see that the nearest being to us, which is the moon, how much effect it has on the tides of our oceans, on the tides within women, and also, even though they are not aware of it, on the moods and the decisions of men. Those who study trading, they know that the moon affects the trading cycles also. So all the vibrations and the cycles of Earth are affected by the moon. And because the moon is in relation to the sun, very strong in relation to the sun, and so is therefore also our Earth. All of these influence one another. If all the planetary beings influence one another and influence us, don't we feel that all of us human beings also affect one another? Is it possible that one of us can exist and not affect the existence and the experience of the other? We all affect one another. Thich Nhat Hanh said a beautiful thing: we inter-are. I used to think of it as interconnected because our lives are interconnected. But it's not just life being interconnected. Our very presence, our very being is one, is interconnected, is inter-are. If we even just look at our breath, we are constantly breathing air from outside. That's what is keeping us alive and vibrant and doing whatever we do on this planet, in this earth, in this life. Where does that air come from that we are breathing? Where was it before it came through the filter of my nose? And when it goes inside me, what does it gather from us? What does it gather from everywhere and that it goes inside the body? Because the air that we breathe in goes into the tiniest cell in the body. If it doesn't go into a cell, that cell dies. So when we breathe it out, what are we breathing out? What are we co-creating in the air that is around us? What are we letting go? What are we releasing? A very simple, beautiful exercise that I really love is the cleansing breath. That you let out the deep breath, either through the mouth or just through your nostrils, so that you feel the belly going in and the chest going in, and you breathe it out. And when you breathe in, you feel you're breathing in light from the top, from the sky, and from the earth. And just breathe it in. And when you breathe out, You breathe out light from your own center, from your central column. And you do this 3 times. 1 cleansing breath and 3 breaths of light. And as we breathe out in this way, our interconnection with everyone becomes more and more clear. And when we are interconnecting in a clear way with one another, we find that we are able to harmonize our light and our dark along with one another. We are able to shine and to dim in the way of nature. When we have to speak and when we have to be silent. When we have to ebb and when we flow. Because when I flow, you ebb. And when you flow, I ebb. And in this way, we interbreathe one another. Thank you for being in this place. And I'm going to just allow you to see nature. It's raining. We'll stay here for a while, just in silence. Thank you. We're going to start our Zoom session soon, where we co-create a world which benefits all beings, because if we all interbreathe and inter-are, is it possible that any of us can be fully at peace or fully happy until all are happy? And on the other hand, is it possible that anyone can be fully sad or fully suffering if even one of us is co-creating happiness and smile and wonder and something good in every minute? I really would love all of you to join in the Zoom session, because it's helping us to find our own dreams, the dreams which are hiding in our hearts. The soul has placed its message in each of our hearts, because the heart is what beats the first. The heart has all the memory of everything that we have been as living human beings. Even before we breathed, the heart was beating. And the heart is constantly beating the message of the soul. If we are silent and we listen to it, we begin to understand that the soul has placed symbols and dreams and many ways, because the soul does not speak in the way that we speak. It doesn't speak in language. It speaks in sound and vibration. And we can only hear and sense that vibration and know what is it that we have come here to do when we listen to the heart. And when we share with one another in words and in understanding, we're able to bring this to life. Because all this work, all this time, we have always been co-creating a certain world, but we've not always known it. And so we've always thought that it's someone else, some entity outside us, maybe God which is outside of us, or nature which is outside of us, or destiny, or planets which are affecting our life. But we are not realizing that what's affecting our life is what we are co-creating. With that realization comes smile and happiness and everything that is able to manifest change, transformation, awakening for everyone. I'm going to stop the live on Facebook now, and whenever you all are ready, please join. Thank you.